I'm hoping this.
I think.
I'm going to turn this light on just in case.
I think we're live. Let's have a quick look. According to that, we're live. Let me just dive in. Oh, bloody hell. How come we've got 3 people watching? Well, we've got... Good evening, Mr. Stream Elements Bot.
Oh, that comes on, doesn't it? Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. It just seems to appear. Anyway, right, I think we've certainly got some human beings. Anyway, yeah, good evening. Listen, thank you very much for coming to an extremely late Friday Waffle, and it's all my mate Neil's fault because he turned up just when I was about to record the waffle. I didn't get a chance to do it last night, and I was actually talking to Dale tonight on the phone, and I said I'm going to be. He's like, oh, I'm going to go away and watch the waffle at 7 o'clock. And I went, no, you're not. I've not recorded it yet. So sorry to disappoint you, mate. But thanks for coming in at literally a minute's notice.
No, that's fine. No, always a pleasure to try and help out as best as I can. And to be quite honest, if anybody's looked at Friday and Saturday TV, you'd go, yeah, I'd rather do that than watch TV as well. So
it's funny. I was talking to a guy at work, and we were just talking about how like. In fact, you were mentioning it in your waffle. Oh shit, we're down to 0 viewers. Dearie me. Probably somebody's clicked in it. What the fuck is this? It doesn't matter. Screw the lot of them. That's what I say, Dale.
Yeah,
we're just having a good old.
Just have a chat. I don't care.
Chinwag, and if anybody chooses to chip in, yeah, I was talking to my mate, and we were saying, why is it that nowadays adverts are so boring? I mean, I hate adverts with a passion, and I think it's because people are so self-obsessed about having to look perfect, and people are afraid to laugh at themselves now. Whereas back in the 70s, especially probably the 70s and the 80s, to be fair, maybe even into the 90s, adverts were great. I mean, there were some memorable adverts. I mean, can you think of any adverts that really jump out at you as being entertaining?
Any particular era?
Just whatever. I mean, there was. Well, let me think. What was Smash for? What was it again? For Mash gets
for Mash gets
smashed. Yeah. And it doesn't
with
mean
the robots. 70s, that is.
Yeah. Just that, and there was a bit of feature. Did they not introduce like a baby?
Yeah.
Robot as well at some point. Good evening, Ian. Welcome. You are our captive audience tonight. Yeah, this is completely unannounced. I was planning to record a waffle tonight. I says, and my mate turned up, and I didn't want to say, like, you need to go. So then he left, and I'm like, shit, it's bloody 10 o'clock. I thought I'll get my old mucker Dale, and he can talk shite. You can spin a yarn.
I can definitely talk shite. Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think? I mean, when you think of adverts from back in the day, there was a lot of humour.
I've always mentioned it before, but it's been a long time. But the earliest advert I remember is the Humphrey straws from the Unigate milk advert campaign in the 70s. And the reason that I remember that is because I was a milk monitor at primary school. So around about the time that Unigate were trying to get milkmen to deliver extra pinters to their mum, what Unigate Milk tried to do, instead of getting you to go to the supermarkets, they invented a mystery monster called the Humphreys, which were just straws, and the straw used to come in from the side. They used to have guest stars, and it'd drink the milk while the guest star was speaking. They had all sorts of actors. Muhammad Ali was one actor that was part of the Unigate Milk Humphrey campaign, as was Frank Muir, Benny Hill, Rod Hull and Emu. All of these,
all the big AAA listers from the 70s,
were actors that were involved in that particular advertising campaign.
I can't remember that. I've got to say, I can't remember. The Humphreys. No.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's on YouTube somewhere.
Oh, God, all you have to do is just type in the Humphreys. You'll see I think they did about 15, 16 adverts. It was almost like It was almost like the British gas campaign. Tell Sid. Was it Tell
No,
Sid?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that was
Or
was
was
that
that
not
was
bloody?
that
That
was
was
that
BT.
that was
That was
BT? Was it? Yeah.
BT. Tell what the hell was that? What was that all about?
That was privatization of all of our
Tell
industries where they were
Sid.
trying to
Yeah,
sell you shares.
yeah, yeah. Talking about milk, I do remember when we first got milk in primary schools until Margaret Thatcher decided to banish them. Um, it was, remember, they came in, what would you call that shape? A triangle, where it's triangle on each side, three sides.
Yeah,
It came in a
triangle.
triangular type shaped milk, and was it like the highway code written on it and this kind of thing? Do you remember that?
No, the only thing I can remember with triangles was Dairy Lee.
Oh, no, no, no. These were, can you imagine a triangle, three triangles put together, and it kind of makes a
Yeah,
triangle shape thing. Well, you imagine a diamond chopped in the middle. You've
yeah.
got that shape. That was the shape of the milk carton that we used to get at school.
Oh,
And it had the little bit for the straw. You push the straw in it. Do you remember that?
yeah. Trouble is, when I was at primary school, we had bottles of milk at first. Then we were given cartons, and the cartons had that fold out that you did at the top. Where you pulled away at the top, and then
Mm.
it made a pour. Made a sort of spout at the front, and then after that we used straws with a small silver foil cover that you poked your straw through. So we didn't have that what you're talking about, but I think that might be just because it's dependent on where you were getting your milk from more than
Yeah.
more than anything.
Obviously, we were green back in the day before green was even a thing,
Yeah.
and then obviously Margaret Thatcher outlawed it. I think we then went to milk bottles. That's a thing you never see. Can you still buy milk in milk bottles? I'm sure you can,
Oh
eh?
yes, I think you can, but if you go to farm stores, if you
Uh,
particularly go to a farm where they've got their own store, I think they do milk in bottles so that you can come back and give your bottles back. I don't
ah,
think it's very popular in anything other than organic stores.
that was a thing back in the day with your family. Go, oh, I want the cream. You had
Yeah,
about an inch of cream at the top, and then it was just like the milk.
but there was a joke, and I can't remember who said it, but it said that the generation that I come from were green before they were, because if
Mm,
you brought your milk bottles back, then you're greener than we are now because we use plastic.
mm.
So we were green before green was even a thing because we'd bring the
Eh.
bottles back and wash them out and use them again.
Talking of straws, yeah, I mean, whilst I'm all for paper straws because we've all seen the horrific YouTube videos with poor like sea turtles with straws
Yeah.
up their nose and all that kind of thing. But paper straws, oh, I just don't like them at all. You get even worse. You go into like a takeaway and you get given a wooden fork. It gives me a shiver just trying to eat food off a wooden
There's a
wooden
texture
cutlery.
to it. There's a texture to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you've got a wooden fork and you put the food in your mouth, you obviously bite and pull it away and you just go, oh, I can feel that's wood.
Ah,
It's not metal, where it just glides off. It's got this. No, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
so adverts for the 70s. I mean, yeah, what? You must agree. I mean, in fact, he said something to me. He says, "Oh, there was one brilliant advert," and he told me what it was, and I'm like, "Nah." He went, "Yeah, how come you've not seen it?" And I went, "Because I don't watch live TV.
No, no.
I don't. I don't watch live TV. I couldn't tell you the last time. I couldn't actually. I mean, well, that's not entirely true. I watched like the rugby. Scotland hammering England a couple of weeks ago. I watched that. Pumping the Welsh. I watched that. But I mean, I don't watch. I watch sporting things, but I don't. I couldn't tell you the last time I actually put a program on. Oh, there's an advert. Um, and
Well,
I've
like I say, there's a program
yeah,
on behind me. That's the Rise and Fall of Reginald Perrin, which
yeah,
used to be on the BBC, but because it's on Sky, there's adverts in between. So that's when I get to see adverts because I'm watching an
yeah,
old repeat of a program and they've got an advert in between it. But it'll
yeah.
always be send your money to the donkey sanctuary or whatever it is. It's all the charities trying to get money basically at the moment.
Yeah.
So
But why is it that adverts, why have we stopped? We don't want to make a fool of ourselves. We could laugh at ourselves. We're able to laugh at ourselves a lot more back in the day, and there was a lot of creativity. I mean, did you guys get the Iron Brew adverts
yes, but
broadcasts? Yeah.
it was very, very small advertising campaign. It wouldn't
Yeah.
be as big as yours, because I think while you had Iron Brew, we had something else. It's done by the same company, isn't it? The Coca-Cola company or the Pepsi
Well, no,
company or whatever it is.
it's called the Bars,
Yeah, bars.
BARRS,
So
Bars
whatever
do Iron
bars,
Brew.
so bars would have something else that they marketed in England,
I see.
that
So
and so forth.
so did you not get all the? Did you get the Iron Brew adverts? I mean, they were some of the best adverts ever. They were
What I'm trying to
brilliant.
say is I do remember an Iron Brew advert, but I can't remember the era of it. And what I'm trying to say is it wouldn't be like a Pepsi advert
Yeah.
or a Diet Coke advert or anything like that, because it's such a smaller market. Take it like this: everybody remembers the R. White's guy getting his lemonade out of the fridge, saying he was a secret lemonade drinker, right? Do you remember that? That's the
R
R. White's
R
advert.
Whites? Nah,
R. White's lemonade,
nah.
right? And then
Don't
you've
remember
got
that.
the bear that used to sell frothy Corolla drinks. It was a big bear, and he had sunglasses on, and he said, "It's frothy, man."
I remember that. That was it used to come in Oh, there's the very man, Mr. Stealth Banana. He's the reason that we're talking now. Because
Oh, right.
what was I going to say? Yeah, what do you call it? Fanta came in really. It was like wee. I don't know what size it would be. They were like wee kind of bottles,
Yes.
and you had straw. I think you had like strawberry. What else
Yeah,
was
they
there?
had sort
And
of like pink
cream.
grapefruit and all sorts of
Yeah,
weird sort of
yeah.
like drinks, you see.
It was actually quite nice. I always remember at school, you got given, I think I got 20 pence for my lunch, and you could either get a sausage roll and a cake, or you could get a sausage roll and sweets, or you could just get a bottle of Cresta. You had to pick
Yeah.
and
Well,
choose.
sometimes we didn't have cans, and my mother would put things like little box of drink, like umbongo or something like that, because it would fit in the sandwich box rather than having it rattle around. A can it can shake up and spurt everywhere, if you put it loose in your bag with all of your books. So she'd usually put in a drink that was in a cardboard carton with a straw, with the straw attached to the side, stuck on with some sort of glue. And I think it was umbongo, I think we used to have.
That's right, with the glue, yeah. But no, the Iron Brew you need to watch them. The Iron Brew adverts were brilliant. I mean, there was one really memorable one. The young guy, goes to visit his girlfriend in hospital, and she's just given birth, and she's got the baby, and the mother's there as well. And she goes, "What are you going to call? What are you going to call Lorraine?" And she goes, "Fanny." Ah, that's lovely. He goes, "Fan." Aye, Fanny. He says, Your dad was a Fanny, your auntie was a Fanny, and even he was a Fanny. They got away with so much. It was brilliant. There's some.
I mean, I don't remember any particular one, but Iron Brew was always based around something being strong. That's so that it
Aye,
would have
'cause it's
been
made for
it would have
girders.
been a joke
It's-
around drinking a can of Iron Brew made you rock hard or something,
yeah, because it's made for girders,
Made, and that was the
metal girders,
that
and
was
so
the
yeah, it
bit at
makes
the
you.
end that I remember in that
Yeah,
accent as well, made from girders,
yeah.
and I could
And
never say it.
they also
So,
did. They also. Do you remember the advert? Uh, First love, do do. It was for Coca Cola, and it finishes with the guy goes to get a can of Coca Cola, and it goes boom, and it kind of headbutts him. Do you remember that?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, Iron Brew came out with a piss take on that. That was brilliant. That was yeah. Maybe they were only shown in
Yeah,
Scotland. I don't
first
know, but they
time,
were
first love,
love.
very
Oh,
first
what feeling it
kiss, blah
was.
blah blah
Yeah,
blah blah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But why? I mean, what has changed in the last 30 years that people want to look perfect? Even, you go into Facebook and people just they want to look a certain way. They've got their lips done. What is it? Why have we become obsessed with
I
looks and that?
think that the reason that adverts aren't like they used to be is purely that we used to have just two ITV channels really, which was ITV3, which is just Channel 3, and Channel 4, and then Channel 5 a little bit later on. And as soon as satellite came along, it's like adverts are everywhere, but you can't guarantee that by watching this program, you're going to get this audience. So the advertising
Aye.
companies cut back on their budgets because you know, unless you're putting it in a slot where Coronation Street is or Emmerdale is, you've got no guarantee that anybody's going to be watching at 9 o'clock at night on a Monday, because there'd be all sorts of different programs on where you were guaranteed an audience of about 22 million every night
Yeah, and
through
that
between from about 7 o'clock till 10, no matter what.
yeah, and that was another thing. I mean, I think we've spoke about it, and I was talking about it at work again. I- I- You know, back in the 70s, or not even before satellite TV came along, you had 3 channels, and then latterly 4 with Channel 4, and it was like your staple weekend. You would sit with the family, and what would you watch? You'd watch It's a Knockout, followed by Jim Will Fix It. Uh, and all
Yeah,
these sort of things. You had all these programs, and then what else did you watch? Starsky and Hutch and the A Team, and then on a Sunday you would watch All Creatures Great and Small, I don't, bloody Pot Black, Athletics. There was always all these things, Doctor Who, and it was a family thing. People
yeah,
sat around the TV. It was this entertainment. I mean, nowadays, I've got a TV there. I've got 2 TVs up. No, I've got 3 TVs upstairs, one in my bed. We've got TVs with these things. We don't even sit in the same room, and we've even got to a stage now where we can be sitting in the same room as 3 or 4 members of our family, and we're all listening to different things.
yeah.
Um, and so you don't have that commonality that we had, and I think we've lost something because we've now got our own personal kind of space, haven't we?
Yeah. But I do find it a shame because adverts used to be as entertaining as the TV series. In fact,
Yeah, where?
there was an argument that says the adverts are more entertaining than the shows. In fact, there was a time where that was true. You
Hmm.
know, because there were funny ones, there were dramatic ones, there were ones that you had a hook by a tune. Wrangler's jeans must be well known for getting so many old 50s and 60s tunes back in the charts for selling their jeans. Heard it through the grapevine and all sorts of, that people could just remember.
What was that advert? I'm trying to remember. Evening LFC, how you doing, mate? What was that advert? The group was called not Slipknot, Silk. They were Scottish, and the advert, it starts off like a kind of chorus, and the advert is like it's almost in America or Canada, and you've got this beautiful lake, and there's a young girl, and she starts to, or no, she is a guy. He starts kind of stripping, and this young girl kind of sees him stripping. What was it? No, what was it called again? Not
uh,
slip, no, stiltskin, stiltskin.
well, I've
They
heard
were
of
like
Stiltskin, but
Stiltskin. Yep, Neil's just said it just after I mentioned it. Yeah, it's a great song. I think they were kind of one hit wonder. But
mm,
yeah, some of the production values of adverts were phenomenal.
oh
Did
god,
you get
yeah,
did you guys get like the Terence Lager
yeah.
adverts on TV?
And we
Some of
used
them
to
were
get
great.
we used to get the Hoffman, the Follow the Bear, and we used to get Foster's, and that used to be the bloke from Crocodile Dundee, Paul Hogan, wasn't it? And
Right. Do you remember the Paul Hogan show?
oh god, yeah.
All right,
And
House.
I was talking to somebody else about Paul Hogan when Kelly Monteith died a couple of months ago, about a month
What?
ago.
What? Just this year?
Yeah, Kelly Monteith died about
Yeah.
a month ago,
Oh yeah, I remember
and
watching the Kelly Menteith show. Yeah.
and uh, and the funny thing was is that brought up Gary Shandling, because I used to see the Gary Shandling show, and there used to be the Kelly Monteith show, and that's when all of these fringe comedians that weren't really British came into the conversation altogether.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
remember watching, and you'd go, I remember that name. Why can't I picture his face? I used to watch that show, but it's like that. So, But Paul Hogan used to be on late at night on ITV. It,
I
it
used
would
to
it would
sit up
almost
and
be
watch it.
10:30, 11 o'clock or something like that, and it would
Yeah.
be very. It'll be on an ITV channel. It wouldn't be on a BBC channel, as far as I know. I'm pretty sure it was an ITV channel.
Hmm.
He was very sexist with his some of his jokes. You see, like Kenny Everett's video show that used to be on ITV. It was full of Captain Kremen and all of this sort of stuff, but it had those dancing routines when he was trying to play his music,
What were
and it
they
would be
called
like
again? What was the name of the group?
no, not hot gossip. It was Pam's Peep. No,
Fans people, what was it? I
oh
can't. Did they not have?
no,
Did they not have a
I've forgotten what they're called now. But he used to include them in all his skits because he used to do
Mhm.
these jingles. He used to do it almost like a radio show
Yeah,
that
yeah.
turned into a
Yeah.
video show.
He died. I mean, he died way too young, didn't he? He was a. He
Oh
was.
God,
He was
yeah,
a funny. He was a. In fact, he was. I think was he not the. He. I think he was the person that pushed Bohemian Rhapsody.
that's right. He listened
He
to
was the
that
guy that
record
really pushed it.
and he
Yeah.
said, "This track, even if it's like 12 minutes long, is going to be a killer song, killer track." And he played it to
Hmm.
death on his own channel. And this was before, I think it was on Radio Carolina, wasn't it? Before he moved
No,
to the
was that one of the?
BBC.
Was that a pirate radio?
Yeah, because I think he moved to the BBC just after that. But I'm not sure. Like I said, because those 70s are a bit what I've learned and what I remember, if you see what I mean. And what's that? 71, something like that.
What, Ken
Bohemian
Everett show?
Rhapsody. No, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not sure when
It
it
was one
came
of the
out.
first videos as well that they did, wasn't it? And I mean, it's got an
Uh,
iconic video to it. But oh look, Benny Hill was on.
oh dear. I just saw the Thames Television. There
Yeah,
used to be a great website. I don't know if it's still on. Is it TV something? And it's just all like the indents for over the years
idents.
for
Yeah,
idents, like even for like World of Sport and Grandstand and the
but that's how I
weather
knew. That's
and
how I knew about
yeah,
STV. See,
yeah.
with your T and your V on I think it was a white line with blue, and it went STV like this.
Mm,
But I always remember the Anglia one with the shiny metal
yep.
guard, with a
It is
flag,
spun around.
and
Even in
those are the
Retro
ones
what
that
you met.
stuck out for me. ATV had the lovely rings that turned into the ATV
Was that the one
three
that
rings
went ding dong dong?
sort
Doo,
of,
doo,
yeah.
doo.
And then you had the
Some,
Thames, which was
something.
the River Thames, and it had a reflection.
That's
So you
right.
had
Yeah.
you had the Houses of Parliament, and it reflected in the water underneath.
There's
Uh,
LFC mentioning, yeah. Good evening, Doug. Most beer ads from the 1980s and 90s were weird, such as, yeah, Castlemaine. Yeah, I think I don't know who could you blame. Would it be Neighbours? Neighbours seem to open the floodgates for kind of Australia coming into our TV screens.
Foster's, yeah.
Yeah. Was it they could? Was it they could? What was the punchline? They couldn't make a Castlemaine 4X from anything else. Something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that, yeah.
Evening, Mister Games. Howdy.
Harp,
Yeah.
do you remember Harp Lager? Harp, stay sharp to the bottom of the glass.
Bottom of the glass. Yeah, you know what? My mum and dad had a harp half pint glass. I think it must have got chucked out when my dad died, but I can still remember it's got the wee kind of harp, the harp logo. Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember Harp, stay sharp to the bottom of the glass. I remember all the adverts about the water in Mallorca don't taste like what it ought to, and it was a posh woman, and then she turned Cockney and said, that's because it was the dead opposite of My Fair Lady, and it's all because it reaches the parts of a beers cannot reach. What's the beer that reaches the parts of a beers cannot reach? Oh God,
Carlsberg. Was it
Carlsberg,
no?
yeah,
Was
possibly.
it? Was it Carlsberg? No. Was
Yeah.
it no harp lager?
No, Harp was stay
Ah,
sharp. That was definitely
aye,
that.
to the bottom of the glass. I'm trying to think. What was that? What was the phrase again?
Reaches the parts of a beers cannot reach.
Aye. There's Mr. Renton. He'll tell us. Matt, you're just a man. What was the beer that the punchline was? Reaches the parts that
Other
other beers
beers cannot
cannot reach.
reach.
Hmm. I'm just looking at the totty in the background there, mate.
Yeah,
That is
that's Hills Angels. So
oh, so it
you know
was.
that dance group.
Yeah, nice. Mr. Games, he's away to Japan. Lovely. What time are you leaving? Nice. So anyway, Dale, what have you been up to this week, mate? Gaming wise, from a gaming perspective, have you any luck on your Mister at all?
No, not I haven't tested it, but I'm going to check it because it didn't. It said that I took you to that website where you could put your interest.
Yeah.
It said that there wasn't going to be any until the end of February, and it's now the 17th. So this is where I usually now check my email address that I gave them, because I don't give them my normal email address. I give them my
Mm.
advertising one that I don't keep track of very closely, and I'll just check to see if there's one there, and then I'll go and see whether they've got stock in, and then
Mm.
and just see if there's any movement. But I'm just looking at it that I'd know if they'd tell me, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to do like I did with my PlayStation 5 and keep hitting refresh until it comes up and says there's some in stock and all of this sort of
Nah,
stuff. You know what I mean?
bollocks to that.
Bollocks
Yeah,
to all of
because
that. Yeah,
when my mate Neil was up, he was having a wee look for me. But you know what? I'll I'll get it when I get it. Right, Matt's saying Heineken, was it Heineken lager?
could have been.
Reaches the parts other beers cannot reach. Heineken, yeah. What's the one? If is it Castle? No, not Castle, Main. Carlsberg. If Carlsberg made like football teams, this would be it. Or what? Was that Carlsberg or was that
They did do an
Heineken?
advertising that if Carlsberg did this and that, but I remember those as newspaper ads rather than the adverts.
Yeah.
Uh, Carlsberg. Can almost hear the bloke going Carlsberg at the end, and then there's a slogan, and I just can't think what the slogan is. Do you know what I
Hey,
mean?
did they advertise beer on TV now?
No,
No, no, they do. They do. They do advertise like Budweiser and that, surely.
even I mean, like I said, I haven't seen a Budweiser advert since for donkey's years.
Oh, I think they do. I'm sure they do. I'm
I
just
mean,
laughing at.
like I said, they probably do, but from my recollection, the last Budweiser advert that meant anything was the frogs.
Oh yeah, Bud Rise.
Yeah, that that meant anything. That was but I mean, I'm sure they have done.
What was the one? What's up?
What's
What's
that?
up? What's up?
That.
Right, Alan's saying it was Heineken. It was a spoof of the Milk Tray action guy.
Yeah.
So who played the part? Who was the actor in the Milk Tray advert? Was he famous for anything?
I don't think he was. I think it was just any old actor for that.
What you on tonight, mate? Is that cider? Or is that?
No, just a kind of
All right. You
product
drink.
placement. There we are. See if we can get some advertising money. Look.
Retro saying the best Carlsberg advert was a guy in a deserted building answering a ringing phone in an office saying Carlsberg complaint. Oh, I remember that Carlsberg complaints department. Yeah, and it turns out it was a wrong number.
Yeah. Then there was Hootsmon. There's a
Moose loose
Loose
about this
about this
house.
hoose, and that was for Roundtree's
No,
fruit pass.
no,
No, it wasn't. It was wine
no.
gums. Was it
Yep.
wine gums?
Maynard's wine gums.
Then there was Soft Mints, where it was Mr. Soft walking down the street, and he's like he's made up of pillows or something, and he's going, Mr. Soft.
I don't remember that one. No.
Um,
What about Fanta? Oh, Tony, here he is. Oh,
yeah.
Tony.
Oh, you've been tangoed.
Oh,
That's it. You've been
that was
tangoed, haven't you?
yeah, and of
That
course
that got
was
into terrible trouble because it
yeah, there's a
started
lot of-
arguments in playgrounds. Apparently, it started people beating up just because you got a
yeah,
can of tango in your hands.
yeah. I'll tell you a thing I stumbled. You know, in YouTube you watch something and you get what do you call it? You get all these weird recommendations, and one that popped up in my feed, whatever you want to call it, is there's actually like championship slapping. People slap one another, and it's actually really professional. They've got referees and that, and quite literally they just face each other, and the guys like that, and the other guys like that, and it's, bang. It's actually a thing. I mean, Jesus, that must give you brain damage, surely.
Yeah, but I think but just going back to the adverts, probably just to end it all,
Sorry,
I
yeah, I'm kind
suppose.
of going off
No,
topic
just
here.
to end it all, I suppose, really, because I mean, I'm sure there's questions that people want. I haven't looked, you see. Um, is that the adverts that I remember seem to be the ones that went on for years. Like we had the gravy adverts, and they always had
Yeah, the family.
the family with the gravy adverts. Then there was Gareth Hunt, who was in the New Avengers doing the coffee adverts.
That's right.
That's
There
where
was.
this came from about
Aye.
shaking. And I thought, well, he's wanky. Well, you know what
Oh,
I mean?
that's
He
right.
was
He
just
went.
doing his, you know what I mean? It's like how you can get away with this. And it's those sort of adverts, like the Bird's Eye adverts, where you used to have the two kids that were going to have burgers tonight or whatever. And then there was the Captain Birdseye adverts for the fish fingers and all that sort of stuff.
Until they changed them, and they didn't think anybody would notice,
Oh,
but
and the
we did.
chocolate adverts, we had
We
the
did.
Milky Bar Kid, and you know they were they. But I think that they worked more because of the jingle. I think the jingle sold
Mm.
it. And then you'd go Captain Birdseye, you know, you knew straight away that's it's the Captain Birdseye bloke, you know, on TV, you know, and the Milky Carb kids are on me and all this sort of stuff, you know, it,
Fingery fudge is just enough. Eh?
to give your kids a treat, yeah. And you know that's what I mean. You only have to
Yeah.
start something off, and you remembered it,
Well,
you know. And
the fact that we're talking about like 40 years later,
yeah.
could I know, I know.
Christmas was a special time because you'd bring back all of the ones that you remembered from last year, like that denim advert where you see the woman's hand going down his chest and it was Blue Stratos or whatever it was in a denim because he's a man or something, you know. And I was going, I know what to get my dad for Christmas. It was Old Spice, you know, and it would be that white bottle and there'd be a bloke on a surfboard and
They still sell that. Aye,
yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
and you just knew what was coming up at Christmas. And Woolworths would bring out their special Christmas Woolworth advertising campaign,
Adverts.
just
Yeah,
like they do
yeah.
now with Debenhams and so forth. But the Woolworths one was a special one, purely because that's probably where my mum and dad were definitely going to get my Christmas present from. You know, it'd be the Amstrad stereo unit that would be from Woolworths. You know, so there you go. But my adverts are a very special thing to me because they were just they were there during the children's TV programs and they were there in the early evening and they were universal for all. And some of them I didn't get. Some of them made my mum and dad laugh and I didn't know why. And later on I worked out why because of the double entendre that was in there. You know, and it's just nice to sometimes go back and reminisce. That's all
Yeah,
about
there's
it
Doug
all.
coming up with a classic. What was that again? Will it be chips or jacket spuds? Fried onion rings? We'll have to
Oh,
wait and see.
hope it's
It's
chips, it's
chips, it's
chips. We hope,
chips.
yeah, that's
We'll
K
get chips
Sarah
or chips.
Sarah. You see,
That's right.
that's
Yeah.
um yeah, that's right. And they had all these different diverse people in that because they had a black bloke and an Indian bloke. And I remember there was this black bloke that come up, he goes, fried onion rings like that. And you go, Jesus, you would not get away with that now. But I mean, what I'm saying is there was all sorts of workers in the
Yeah.
back of this van.
Yeah. And do you remember the adverts for like giving blood? You had was it not the drifters, the spinners, and they
I
would go
remember the
into the
blood advertising campaigns, but
the
they
spinners.
might have been they might have been regional.
Do you not remember the spinners? They were like a kind of folk group. They were an English thing, and there
Do
was
you
a
remember
black guy in
country? Do
that
you
as
remember
well.
Country Life Butter?
Was that an advert or something? Was it?
And
Not an
spread it on
advert.
your
Was that a
toast in the
cartoon?
morning. It was like a load of Wurzel type farmers. Spread it on your toast in the morning. It's country life. It's English too.
Even some of the crisp adverts were. Do you remember why Tony? What was it? You want to deliver this newspaper? He goes, why I Tony? For my was it for Tudor? I climb a mountain.
See,
Remember
again, I
that one?
think
There you
that
go.
was probably regional because the only crisp adverts I can think of at the moment are the Monster Munch ones where they had the great big massive sort of like
That's right. But
it's a
kind of
knockout
fluffy.
type monsters
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah,
tongues
yeah.
eating these great big massive crisps. I remember some of the advertising campaigns for hula hoops where you could actually put your fingers inside the hoops and have them on the ends of your
That's
fingers.
right.
If you tried to do that now, they'd just snap and break apart because there's the whole, you don't get that many hula hoops in a packet of crisp these days.
Just some Alan there saying shield, not was it shield, not sheed? Was that shield, not sheed? What's that? Was that for a? Was
I
that
can't
for?
even see the chat, so
Oh, you can't see it.
hang on. Naughty but nice, fresh cream cakes. Yeah, I remember those. Naughty but
Do you
nice.
remember an
They were the
advert?
carry-on teams, I think, used to do those.
One of my favourite adverts was for Esso, and remember it was just a tiger, and you had that music, and you
Oh, the
saw
Esso Tiger.
the tiger running across like a beach.
So the Esso Tiger was done by guess who?
What do you mean done by Guess Who? I meant to know
The music
that.
who did that?
I don't find Vangelis or something.
No, Jeff Wayne, who did
Oh,
War of
really?
the Worlds.
Ah.
That was his advertising campaign, and he also did the music to most of the summer, the World Cup football themes.
Ah, right, okay.
So if you have a look, Jeff Wayne, before he did War of the Worlds, was mostly a jingles man doing stuff for advertising campaigns or TV sports introductions. But yeah, the Esso one was a big one because you had the line that goes across the snow, and then a helicopter would go over the water to a big pump, and then you'd see a car driving up into the petrol station, and it would always end up with the lion at the end or the tiger with the
kind of
eyes.
close up. And do you remember? I think it was at Esso again. It was just a spanner, and you saw the oil running down, and it went.
Castrol GTX. Castrol GTX, yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very, very subtle.
And there was a famous advertising campaign for Honda where you had a mousetrap type thing where a nut bolt knocked over a big ring.
Yeah.
They went over, and then there was a rocking motion with some sort of bonnet and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think it was to do with nothing is built like a Honda or something like that. It's a Vorsprung torque technique type thing. You know what I mean with Audi.
There's Matt saying re-record, not fade away. Was that
Scotch tape with a lifetime guarantee. Boney, I think his name wasn't it?
These were these came out right at the start of the kind of the whole VHS kind of videotape kind of industry, didn't it?
Oh yeah,
getting tapes. Do you remember? I mean, you got your videotape, and then you could peel off the letters, and then you even had like tiny little numbers you could put on it as well. One of my mates, he was like really anal when it came to fucking putting all this on. And
my mum wanted it. My mum wanted them in them library book type ones. You used to buy these plastic piece of that looked like leather bound books, and you'd put the tape in, and she'd put the stickers on the actual tape. She'd put them all on a line on the shelf, but nobody knew what the hell was on each of them because she wouldn't write on the edge. She'd only put it on the tape because she wanted them to look like library books.
Evening, Scott. And do you remember, what do you call it? Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. I mean, you took back a videotape, you always you'd get fined if you didn't rewind the tape.
Oh, yeah. That's right. And they even had a machine to actually rewind all it did was rewind the tape.
Really?
Yeah, Blockbusters had no end of them.
One.
To rewind the tapes. Terrible, that one. But I remember that my mum used to have a tape that says, "This is my tape, do not tape over on pain of death." She'd have that on a label. Oh, mustn't record on that. Can't record, can't record the Krypton factor. You know what I mean? Bloody hell.
I used to have a mate, he would actually not want to come to the pub with us because he insisted in staying in so he could pause like the adverts and that, because he didn't want adverts in anything that he taped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's when some people had 2 video recorders and would take them out. But the quality would degrade because you'd play it on one and record on the other, and you'd put an RGB cable or something, at the back of it. But they'd degrade.
Yeah. Did you have quite a sizable? In fact, no. I was going to say a sizable. I better finish what I'm saying. A sizable collection of videotapes.
Tons.
Did you record a lot of stuff back in the day? Or?
Yeah, loads, and I've still got them. That's the trouble.
Really? Yeah.
The only ones that I've got that you can buy now, the VHS tapes, is the Doctor Who ones. I chucked most of them away. I had a huge collection of when Philips brought out their cheapest widescreen TV, you know, the one that was still an expensive TV, we're talking about $1,000 or so, you know, it was all in silver, the classic 32-inch widescreen TV.
Yeah, yeah.
20th Century Fox brought out an advertising campaign saying for the first time you can now see Star Wars in widescreen. And they started bringing out things like Die Hard widescreen, Star Wars widescreen, Raiders of the Lost Ark widescreen. And I was there every week going, I've got to buy this collection. It's widescreen. I'm going to see it just like you'd never seen before. You know, I'm going to have the letterboxes all taken away because I've got my widescreen TV. And I was there. I was one of the stupid people that was buying that then, and I'm still buying them now with my collection behind me.
So is there any demand for videotapes now, do you think?
No,
I don't
I think
no, not at all. Eh?
there is for certain films that have not been released on DVD or Blu-ray or Ultra HD, because there are always films that are banned that will never
Yeah.
see the light of day. And there's also films that are still not out yet on the latest format, and you have to go back to DVD or video CD to still get them. Right? There'll always be the odd film that will be, oh yeah, that's worth a fortune because it's still not out. You know what I mean? On the
Or it's
latest format.
yeah, or it's the only way to see it uncut or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you won't see Benny Hill on Blu-ray, but you will find him on DVD. But before DVD, he was on VHS. And all I'm saying to you is that there is still stuff that you cannot find, like Robinson Crusoe that we used to watch on TV in the 70s in the summer holidays. It did come out on DVD about 15 years ago. They haven't released it on Blu-ray. And basically, the DVD is incredibly hard to get hold of now. In fact, you'd have to probably buy the German version. Do you see what I mean? Like the Flashing Blade and Monkey. Have you ever seen Monkey on Blu-ray or anything? No, because it
No.
was on DVD as a box set, like the Flashing Blade was, but then they haven't released it again. So those are worth quite a bit because people are going, I haven't got that even on DVD, and it's because you should have bought it back in 2005 when it was released. You know.
I mean, when I moved into this house, I must have chucked away, I don't know, I had like 2 suitcases, chock-a-block of like VHS tapes. I had all the Star Wars, original Star Wars widescreen and all that, and I just flung them out. Nobody was asked if anyone wanted them, and nobody was
You go to a
interested.
car boot sale and just people weren't even giving you a
Nah.
10 pence for them. You know.
I suppose it's a bit like video games. If you had the space, I mean, if you had like I don't know, a 20-bedroom house, you would have your rooms full of all the different systems and TVs and all that kind of stuff. But then you would also want to have a room with just the videotapes all along the shelves, just so you could go in and pick them up and look at the clamshell and put it back up on the shelf.
That's how it was for my mate Martin. You remember I
Yeah,
told you about Martin who died last year. He had just his whole room filled, and in the
really.
center of this rack of whole tapes, it went round the outside of this massive back projected TV. He didn't even have a Cafe Ray tube TV. He had a back projected TV that had mirrors behind it. So it was like
Well.
almost like having it on your wall, but it was actually projected to the back end of the screen. It's very hard for me to describe, but
Was it like
it meant
a projector type thing? Was
yeah.
it?
So the projector was inside, projecting
Mm,
onto like a fiche reader. Do you remember fiche readers?
no.
Um,
Oh, aye. The things that you see in they're looking at, newspaper reports in
Yeah.
libraries.
So remember that the
Aye,
light
aye, aye,
would
aye,
shine
aye.
down, but you'd be watching
Yeah,
it and
yeah.
you'd see the stuff go. That type of display, but he'd have his TV picture coming that way.
Right,
And that meant
right.
he used to have a screen that was like 5 foot wide by about 4 foot tall.
Bloody hell.
Because
When was that?
oh,
How
this
long?
is back in the 80s. And he would have his video recorder would have 12 heads like mine did because he worked on the Air Force base, and that's where I used to get all of my stuff from. So as soon as he bought a video recorder and he said, "Look, here's my new video recorder," and it costs $1,000 over in this here, but I got it off the base for $500. I'd go, "Oh, if I give you $500, would you get me one?" And he goes, "Oh, might be a bit tricky." But then a week later, he'd go, "I got one, managed to sort one. Have you got the money?" and that's how he was. It was always a bit about the catching up with the Joneses with my with people that I knew. It was like, oh, I've got the latest game, but what have you got to give me? And
Aye,
um,
aye, aye. And I
and
mean, in my kind of like friendship circle, when it came to computers and what have you, it was always like, I had the Commodore 64, my mate had a C64, or mate, whatever. One mate got the Atari ST, I got the Atari ST, and then I got the Amiga, he got the Amiga, my other mate got the Amiga, and it's all you saw the next best thing. You thought, I'm going to have one of these.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure yours was like mine. Some people were really good, and they whatever you had, you could have as well. There's no quibble about it. But there were others that went, oh no, if you want some, I've got this, and I only got it today. So if you want something, I need to know what you've got, and it's got to be something I haven't got. And some people were just nasty like that, and you just couldn't get
Well,
into their circle,
I mean, I remember, I've spoken about this before. One of my mates, I don't know. He befriended. I think he was friends with this guy's sister. But this girl that my mate knew, she had a wee brother, and we would be 20, and he was he was 12, 13. But his dad, I don't. His dad had evening Tony. His dad worked in IT. Now we all had Amigas at that point. In fact, it was an Atari ST to begin with, and it was Amigas. And his dad worked in some circles where he got copies of games. This is before you could go to like open air markets and buy them. So he used to get all these games. So we kind of befriended him, and you would turn up at his house. I think he was quite chuffed the fact that like he was hanging about with 20-year-old guys.
oh right,
He probably thought he was uber cool. Cheers, LFC. Take care, man. Thanks for dropping in. And anyway, so I would rock up with like 40 blank discs, and we'd make small talk, and you'd just be like, insert disc, and then his mum would be like, come on, you've got your bath in about half an hour. Oh, Chris, I better hurry up and copy these games, and then I would fuck off. And then it got to a point, I think the penny dropped, and then can I come down tomorrow? Yeah. So what games have you got to give me? I'm like, I've not got anything, because everything I've got, you've given me.
yeah.
And so he then eventually said, well, no, it's one, you give me a game, I give you a game. He was getting them all for nothing, and we ended up like we'd buy a game, and you take it down, and what have you got? Street Fighter. I've got that. So that was it. That dried up. So but, I'm just looking at what was
I
that
haven't
he's
looked.
talking.
I haven't looked at anything. Let's have a look. Let's see. Good evening,
uh,
everyone. Good evening, Keith and Alan. Nice to
I
see
don't
Keith.
I don't know how to use. Oh, hang on a second. Right, what are we talking about? Matt. Right, Doug's saying he's loving this nostalgia stream, fellas. Good stuff, Doug. LFC was saying my parents had tons of films and videos. One of them was Blade Runner, the director's. I've never ever seen Blade Runner, by the way. Matt is saying, what was it? TT Treble TE. What's that?
Tatar foot. No, Tatar.
It still has one of the darkest things I've ever seen. What's something? No. Matt, what is TTTE? Still has one of the darkest things I've ever seen. The episode where Gordon was bricked up in that tunnel. You must know what that is, Dale, do you?
I'm just trying to think.
Treble TE. You need to let us know. Treble TE. Don't know.
I'm just trying to read back and see whether there's a. Oh, I think he's talking about the scary information
Oh,
films. Like,
Thomas the Tank Engine.
oh, is that what he was talking about?
Yeah,
I thought he
Thomas
was
the
talking.
Tank.
I went so far back that he was talking about the public information films, like Stay Away from the Water and.
Oh yeah. I'll be back with Donald Pleasance. I'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thomas the Tank Engine. And Matt is still traumatized by that episode where Gordon is bricked up. Jesus.
I don't remember that one.
I never
Mine's
really, I
gone
never.
incredibly dark for some
It
unknown reason.
has. You're kind of, yeah. You're completely in the dark. Oh, it's getting lighter again. What? So what kids? What kind of, after Blue Peter, there was always a little finishing 5-minute program. Magic Roundabout, obviously. What other ones can you remember, Dale?
Will o'
What
the
was
Wisp,
Willow? Yeah, oh yeah, meow, meow, yeah.
Banana Man.
Was that who did that? Was that Bill Oddie or something? The Goodies or something? Eh? Did
John
they not?
Pertwee, I think, also did
Banana Man.
Banana Man.
I thought Banana Man was one of the Goodies. Maybe
Oh, it is. It's Tim Brooke Taylor.
was it Tim Brooke Taylor?
But they had lots of guest voices, if you see what I mean. Let's see. Noggin the Nogs.
Rhubarb and custard.
Rhubarb and Custard. Yeah.
They had that really weird animation where you would see like the birds sitting on a telephone wire, and the birds would be kind of going like that, and they'd be like
They'd be on a
vibrating,
fence, and it would
They'd
be the lines making up the fence.
and it'd be going. It would kind of shimmer. How many? I wonder
Sorry,
how many.
I had a coughing fit for a moment there.
I wonder how many episodes of Rhubarb and Custard were there, because I can't even remember what happened. What actually happened in Rhubarb and Custard?
I was having a chat with somebody else because I was doing my film topics, and somebody said to me, "Have you ever thought doing about a topic on finger bobs?" And I went, "No," but I remember finger bobs very well. There was only 13 episodes of finger bobs after doing an investigation, and Joffy, who was the bloke who did the hand puppetry, he only brought out all he wore was a coloured glove and whatever was around, so it would be a cardboard shell for a tortoise or something, and he'd cross his hands and it'd be a seagull, and all this sort of stuff. All he had was gloves.
The programs back then were absolutely shit. I mean, they were as basic as. I mean, one of the scariest things. There's a good evening, Wayne. Wayne's saying there, nosy bonk. Was that not an extra thing on? No, what was it called? Vision On. Was that not a
Yeah,
thing
he
that
was
was
a
on
skit,
Vision
I
On?
thought, in Vision On or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. One of the scariest looking things, most hideous things ever, was Hartley here. Jesus Christ.
From Pipkins.
That was bloody terrifying. You see the state of it. It looked like it'd been
Yeah.
roadkill.
And then there was, I think, Ludwig.
Oh, that was weird. That was some French kind of thing, wasn't it? I had no idea. It was like a ball that kind of played the violin or something. That was bloody weird.
But I was always impressed by Tony Hart because he'd always do half a painting and then he'd put a mirror and you'd see, oh, it was just half. And if you put the two together, you got some animal or something. It's where Thing on a Spring came from. He did his signature or something like Tony Hart. And when you put a mirror to it, it made some sort of like springy type creature with feet.
Do you remember they had the what was it called? The gallery. And now we'll take a look at the gallery.
And it was always the lady that was saying to you, "We cannot return back any of your stuff." and I was going, I wish I knew. I wish I knew what you're talking about.
And it was always some real shitty picture, and it was like Fred, age 5. That's crap. Why is that in the bloody gallery? Yeah.
But I think I was more. I think I was more, and this is weird because I didn't really go for Blue Peter too much. I was more a person who watched Magpie or something, or How.
What was? I mean, I do remember. I just remember Mick had a really stonking perm. He had this big perm, and it was like frizzy. And then there was the lovely blonde. I can't remember, Leslie or something. What was her name again?
Leslie Judd.
No. All right, here's one for you. Who is the best looking bird that ever appeared in Blue Peter?
On Blue Peter, you bastard. I was going to say, if it was Tiswas, it was Sally James.
Well, obviously, there's a couple of reasons for that. Yeah. I'm thinking
reasons for that.
You see, when you watch Tiswas back, I mean, she was running about in just a bloody vest. I mean,
well, it went over the top with the actual adult one that was shown in the evening.
That was called
that was called Over
OTT.
the Top.
It was
OTT,
just OTT.
Yeah.
Did
you know what Tiswas stood for?
I might. I don't know. I
Yeah, it's
might know.
This Is Saturday, Watch and Smile. Tis
Oh, I
was.
didn't know that. Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. Right, Retro Russ is that's exactly the one I was thinking. The lovely Carol Keaton.
Yeah.
She was quite foxy.
Yeah, I'd probably say that was true as well. Because I ain't going to say Shep, am I?
Doug has just come up with the Magpie Babe, Jenny Hanley. That was
Yeah.
it.
And
Jenny
does
Hanley.
he remember the theme tune, which is one's for sorrow, two's for
Two for
joy, three
something for to be told. No, no, no.
magpie.
Magpie. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Then there
yeah.
was Razzmatazz and Run Around and oh god,
Mike Reed.
Checkers Plays Pop. Bloody hell.
You know what? For a cheesy program like Checkers Plays Pop, they used to have some bloody really big names in it.
I used to love
Really?
Run Around with Mike Reed.
Yeah.
The old Mike Reed.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but
Run
it was just
around
that
now.
it was so easy because all you had to do was run towards these three things, and you knew full well, right, that all you got to do is go where everybody else was going, and then you're going to jump into the center one or whatever it was, because you're never going to run into the one that you're not going to, because you have to jump. You had to jump either left or right. There was no staying.
Oh, I thought you could.
I don't think you could stay. Now
I
I
thought
might be
you could.
wrong, but like I said,
I think you could. I think
you
you
could
could
stay, could you?
because there was always some people that would jump at the last second and they would end up in the wrong one.
Yeah, run around now.
Run around now. What was it? One winner? Was there one person that won?
Oh, on that one, not sure. Because it was always a load of people, weren't it? There was.
I just remember what was it in Cracker Jack? It had
Well, you like
the
Cracker Jack because of Chaz and Dave, I'm sure of it.
Chaz and Dave. No, you're thinking the Crankies.
No, get your voices ready. Come on, let's hear you shout. It's Cracker Jack, Cracker Jack, Cracker Jack.
Cracker Jack. I don't remember. That's Chaz and Dave, was it?
Chaz and Dave, yeah.
I'd love to have. I wish I'd seen Chaz and they're one of my guilty pleasures. Chaz and Dave.
Oh well,
brilliant.
you'd like Alf Garnett then, wouldn't you? Because they did all the In Sickness and in Health and all of that.
Yeah, no, they were good. Yeah, what was that? What
Pot
the Cracker
Black.
Jack? There was a Cracker Jack. You had to hold on to like cabbages and
Yeah, they asked
toys
you
and
questions and they kept giving you stuff, and you had to, and whatever you could hold on to, you'd win. And they stood you on a pedestal. And there were, at the end of the day, I think all they got was a Cracker Jack pencil and pen or something.
I read it somewhere, or somebody told me that they knew somebody that had been on that. What was it? Something drop, whatever it was called. I can't remember. But the prizes that you had on screen, when you actually got off screen, they goes, "You're not getting that," and you just got a small thing. You didn't actually get. You didn't actually get what was. Bloody hell! Tony's got Chaz and Dave's autograph. Nice one.
Wow.
Nice one. That's excellent. Wayne saying there the photon pie flinger. I think he means the phantom flan flinger.
Phantom flan flinger, yeah, and the dying fly. They used to do the dying fly where they used to roll on their back and their hands and arms going like this.
It was just insane. I mean,
the bucket of water song. The bucket of water
right.
song.
Oh, sing the song, the bucket of water song. And then you had Spit the dog. I mean, it was just a guy going.
Oh, Rod Carroll. No, Rob Carroll G's. No, was it
Bob Carroll G's?
Bob Carroll G's. Yeah, that's it.
Spit the dog.
Lenny Henry was just about started from there, didn't he? With his he used to do his
Chalky or whatever it was.
No, he used to do his what was it?
The
botany bloke who used to go, well, gwobble me grape notes on me.
What we got here? What? And then he also did the what was the name of the newsreader? And he actually appeared in real life.
Yeah, he said, "Here's Daddy." He famously said, "Oh, it's Daddy."
And then Frank. I mean, it was when you think about it was just mayhem. It really was. It was just people.
They put all the kids in the cage and just chucked loads of water at them.
I don't think there was any rules. I mean, you had people like, well, I'm trying to think. You had Chris Tarrant. You had the lovely Sally James. You had Lenny Henry. You had Trevor McDonald. Trevor
Trevor
McDonald.
McDonald, yeah.
You
McDonald,
had
he was called, wasn't he? McDonald, they called him.
McDonald.
Trevor
I mean, you
McDonald.
had who else? You had oh, what the hell was there was a guy that you do you remember the group Darts that sung It's Raining and all that? There
Yeah,
was a guy that had a squint. What was his name? Bob somebody, I think. He was in it. There was Bob Carroll G's, and
yeah.
there was another guy. What the hell was he called? They had Frank Carson. He was always been telling jokes.
Well, they always used to have the wrestling people on, didn't they? Because they used to have Big Daddy on, and they used to have, and they had them on weighing scales once to see which one would balance out. They had the strongest man in the world. They had Big Daddy on one side, and they had.
Do you not remember Did you ever see any of the outtakes on? Well, it wasn't an outtake. It was on Tiswas, and they would have Sally James and Chris Tarrant sitting like we're sitting, and they'd go and they'd pull up by the hair of these little kids. They would have one
that's
each.
it, by their ears. Like this.
And then I can't remember what they were doing. They were talking to them, and the wee boy goes, "I need to go to the toilet." And he goes, "Sorry." He goes, "I need to go to the toilet."
Like this. But I always remember. I mean, there's bits that I remember. Like I remember the address was Birmingham B12JP.
2JP, and that
When
was
it was Swap Shop, it was the telephone number. What was it? 018118055.
5, yeah. Posh
You know,
Paws, John Craven.
news round, yeah. And they
Did ya?
did screen. There was a TV. There was a film one called Screen Test, if I remember rightly. They used to show films, and then
That was a quiz program
yeah,
that was on.
Screen
That was
Test.
Screep with not Rod. I'm sure his name was Rod Hull, but not the Emu Rod Hull. I'm sure his name was Rod Hull. Yeah, and it was like they would show you wee clips, and it was usually the British, what was it, the Kids Film Foundation or something.
Yeah, that's probably where you got Kez from. Is because you saw Screen Test once.
What's Wayne saying there? One of his favourite TV programs was Starfleet. Don't remember that one.
Starfleet, yeah, it's Jerry Anderson. You know, like Thunderbirds.
Ah, right. Was it the puppets with the string things?
Well, it's later on. A bit later on, if I remember rightly. Let's have a look. Starfleet. I'm pretty sure of it. I'm sure it's a Jerry Anderson thing. Let's have a look. Starfleet.
Just when you're looking at that, I'm just trying to think of the other TV programs. I mean, the first one I think was Swap Shop, and then Tiswas came out on ITV. Then we had the Saturday Superstore, which
I got it wrong as well. By the way, it was a
Japanese.
Japanese anime thing, bit like a Battle of the Planets, a bit like that.
I remember
Starfleet
was Battle of the Planets where they all stood on each other's shoulders, and there was the wee young one that had this. He used to go.
Yeah, that's Battle of the Planets. That was G-Force, and that was one of the early manga ones that I remember seeing. But the earliest one I remember was Aqua Boy with Oxygum. He used to chew Oxygum. He swam underwater. It was a very, very early cartoon thing.
So anyway, what was right? So after Swap Shop disappeared, you had Saturday Superstore, and that was what's his face, Mike Reed.
And that's pretty much where I would then have left school, and I would probably be either still in bed because I've been to the pub, so I probably didn't watch Saturday morning too much, or I'd be going down to the computer store to see what the latest computer games that I was going to be buying, because Tiswas and Swap Shop went pretty much all the way through to like 85. Well, Swap Shop definitely did. I think you'll find that.
No, I think Saturday Superstore came. Saturday Superstore came out before. I mean, 1985. I was
what I'm trying to say is that I saw those 79 to 83, which was a time where I was watching Saturday morning, and those shows like what you're talking about now, you know, like the Anton Decks of this world that did the Saturday morning stuff, was much later.
Where going live.
I was then now 15 or 16, and it wasn't my audience, but I did watch them because I'd get up and they'd be on.
What was the one? Right, there was Saturday Superstore, which was on BBC One,
Yeah.
And then there was one after Tiz was disappeared. There was one, and it had bloody hell, what was it called? Something Saturday, and it had Mark Curry, ginger hair. It used to be in. He used to be on. Mark Curry was on
I know you're
Blue
talking
Peter,
about.
and it was a program. It was a Saturday program, and Mark Curry was the presenter. What the hell was that called?
Oh, see, now this is
Can't
because
remember.
after Tiz was, which is about 81.
Yeah, Tiz was
I
did kind of
don't
go
know
off here.
quite what came out after Tiz was.
What the hell was it called? Can't
See,
remember.
Tiz was ran till 1982. There you are.
Yeah. Probably I probably still watched Saturday morning because I do remember. I remember watching not Karen Keaton. What was the other one? What was her that was married to? She was. It was. Oh, what? Right. I'm going off on a tangent. Noel Edmonds, the late breakfast show or whatever the fuck it was called. He had his
There you
part.
are. Tiz was initially replaced in 1982 by the Saturday show with post-generation game Isla St. Clair and Gordon Astley. There you are.
What was that? See that again?
Tiz was initially replaced so that in other
The
words
Saturday
there was a
show.
bigger show. There was a bigger show, but it
Yeah.
was called the Saturday show, and it was a post-generation game type show with Isla St. Clair and Gordon Astley, who had been team captain on Cheggers Plays Pop.
Going live. Yeah, I remember that. Yep, Sarah Green. Yeah, Sarah Green. That was it.
Because the BBC carried it on a lot better than ITV did, because Tiz was pretty much what started Swap Shop off. Tiz was just took off, and BBC had to do something, and they said, right, we're going to do Swap Shop as a counterbalance.
Do you remember? The was it 5 Star? They had the live phone-ins, and they went, "You're a bunch of cunts" or something.
Yeah. Why are you such a bastard? Because they did the live phone-ins, and they'd always have some
There
guest
was
star in, and there would be
yeah.
Margaret Thatcher or something would be on one of them,
Ah.
on the BBC side of things.
It was always quite embarrassing. It's like, right, we've got Bono on the Edge from U2. Right, we'll take a few phone calls. We've got
Yeah,
John, age
why are
6.
you such a bastard?
Saturday.
Or getting a
Yeah.
swear word in some way, anyway.
But that's the thing though, and that's what I think that's what we really miss now. Back in the 70s, 80s, everything was laid out, and the guy at work was trying to explain to his 7-year-old daughter that when he was a kid, you had to be in front of your TV at a specific time on a specific day
Yeah.
to watch a program, and she could not understand that you couldn't just watch the program when you wanted to watch it. And that's, I do miss that. I do miss that. Now we're just like, man, I'll just watch an episode of Doctor Who on my phone, and even all this. I don't think you're going to have. I don't think you're going to have two old blokes like us in 30 years' time talking about reminiscing about 2023 and TV, because there's just so much now, isn't there?
Yeah, but I think we have to be thankful a little bit here to the Americans, because I think they invented the watch with Mother, with Muffin the Mule, and then all of that sort of stuff, right? That's where Lone Ranger and all of that sort of stuff was.
Champion the Wonder Horse.
We carried it on and then took it onto another level with Bagpuss and Mr. Ben and all of the rest of the stuff, and Saturday morning show. And that's why we had something called the Children's Television Workshop and Watch with Mother. And what you have to understand is from there, we've had big film stars that starred in those productions. You know what I mean? They actually went on to be in Harry Potter films and everything else, because they were young drama people that were employed by the Children's Television Workshop. So Sesame Street came from that, didn't it? So Fraggle Rock and all that.
Sesame Street, it had some big names on. I think it had anybody who was anybody back in the day, wasn't it?
I think you have to take half of them down because they don't like to have Bill Cosby on it anymore. So I think you have to wipe half the DVDs because he was on just about every week. Everyone's favourite.
Listen, mate, I'm just thinking on that bombshell. I think it's getting pretty late, so we've managed to irk an hour. So, listen, Dale, cheers for coming on, mate. I do appreciate it. It was literally get your get your arse on, like get your headset sorted. We're going live.
Yeah, and,
See what I managed to.
everybody look out for the Humphreys Unigate advert. That's my earliest memory of an advert. Go and watch it.
Listen, folks, thanks very much for tuning in tonight. We got a decent crowd considering we didn't even advertise it. It was just like bang, away we go. Great fun. So yeah, always awesome to have people in watching this stuff. So
Yeah,
listen, have a great weekend. I will be back on Sunday night. Dell's blog will be going live. It seems to be getting later and later, mate. What's happening?
because it keeps getting longer and
It's
longer.
getting longer and longer and longer.
I record it in the morning, and it takes that long to transcode it into HD. I can't help it.
So yeah, Dell's blog will be along on Sunday. Go and check it out. It's always worth a good listen. I said I'll be along on Sunday night for the usual gaming, what have you. So till next time, guys. As always, thank you very much for watching. Cheers, Dell.
Thanks very much. Bye bye.